What up, everybody? Good morning, or evening, or afternoon, or wherever it is where you live right now. Let me know where you're representing from. We're gonna start on our charge piping on this side to get a joint up to the intercooler that we built last time. And then our charge system is done, and then I'm gonna start working on the fuel system. And then it's like this close to firing. Yeah. So yeah, it's a lot more just finished buttoning up work to do. But I think it looks pretty damn good. We did a thing, and I like it. Yeah, my hair is all crazy, and my mustache is clean.
I crave your silhouette more than a little bit. You plan on making me wet just for the thrill of it. Wasted on you. I have enough for two. Still you have to.
There it is, another charge pipe in. If you remember my last video, there's actually piping that's like welded to the bottom of this intercooler that comes across the bottom and into the bottom of this end tank right here. So now that turbo's hooked up, this turbo's hooked up, and the inlet's hooked up. So now we actually have a boost ready system. It all needs to be like thoroughly cleaned out and make sure everything's good, and then that's about it. We put this piece of pipe in now and find our blow-off valve location while we have the aluminum welding set up, and we'll weld our blow-off valve on too.
Each other's eyes, both dancing to the beat. So caught up with the real life. Clothes dropping to our feet. Wasted on you. I have enough for two. Still you have to.
So I'm gonna be real transparent. I kind of messed that one up a little bit because I didn't cut the hole yet. I'm gonna cut it out and Dremel it out after to be the perfect size. So it actually took a lot more amps to get this to weld. And on this side, you can see that I kind of used less amps and it didn't really get as good. So that was a learning experience. I haven't welded on many blow-off valve flanges. So it's on there. Got her. So we'll pull off our blow-off valve again here. Put this in a bad spot. So as you can see, I didn't cut out any of the hole here, and because that's, if I cut my hole first and then I put the flange on and there's like a little bit of a gap, you might blow a hole. This way I had no option, like no chances of blowing a hole through it. So now I'll just drill this out and die grind it down to match what we need. Well, here's the newest predicament. I bought GT35 fittings, which are M12 by 1.0 to 4AN. However, the fittings in the turbos are actually 7/16 like brake line fittings. So now we gotta find some 7/16 to 4AN. Now quickly, I'm gonna take the time to advocate safety on myself, and I'm gonna chain my bottle to the wall so we don't have an explosion in here. Yeah, I said explosion. There, stay put. Yes, I put a million holes in this side because the stud wasn't exactly where it was, according to like the previous marks in the hole. Anyways, I'm gonna put a second one on the bottom, but I forgot to buy extra of these because I was like, cool, I'll put these on one side and it'll be easy to take it on and off. But then I was like, oh wait, how am I gonna join the other side? So I had to use my second one to put on that side. So I do have stuff for the bottom one. I just gotta buy 2 more thingamajiggies. Alrighty then, next up, fuel system. We got some JIC fittings because we're too cheap for AN. Actually, this is like all its local and ready, available for next day. So we got some for the tank, we got some for the rails. We're just gonna go ahead and screw it, and then we're gonna run some lines. And as you can see, I got this beast in the air, and can confirm that when you lift the back end and then the front end individually, it like does that G-body thing where everything just flexes. It's like, flex. Weird flex, but okay. Since we're not running massive, huge horsepower, we're just gonna do 8 in on one side, 6 across to the other one, 6 to the regulator. That's 8 to 8. Let's see if it fits though. I can't even reach the back of the rail now. The car's too high in the air. Ooh, it fits. We are so cheap. These steel JIC fittings are actually cheaper than the aluminum AN fittings, so. Then we go 6. And it's just gonna continue on like this, okay?
Lost in each other's lives, both dancing to the beat, so caught up with no real life.
Well, we ran into our first problem already. This fitting right here is too close to the alternator. I can't run a 90 off it, so we're gonna have to get an ORB to 90 right here. It's just a shorter fitting, and then we can use a straight fitting on the end, and it should fit behind the alternator right here. If not, then I don't know what to do with that. Weld a 90 on there? I could probably do that as well. So we're gonna go to the back. I just put the tank on the floor, and I'm gonna build the lines from the floor. That way when we put the tank up, it's gonna have like the little extra loop and some play in it. That way we can drop the tank back down if we need to, and there's still that slack in it. So that's how I'm gonna build my lines from the floor, and I'm gonna run up to the front. When your buddy tells you he has a welder and you can do it for half the price. Oh yeah, oh yeah. On the plus side, I think this is some scheduled tubing. We might be able to reuse that. So I've been building some lines. I have to admit that these PTFE are a little annoying to make. It probably just takes a little bit of a rhythm to get through it, like AN lines. Once you kind of figure them out, they're just kind of tedious and time consuming, but the little burrs are being an asshole when I'm trying to put those little pieces on underneath. Different style lines, it's all like Teflon inside, so this is actually E85 rated, where the rubber stuff, it tends to break down over time. Just go to your home. Now it's going good. Now we got it. Now we got her figured out. Now, while we're building this line, I'd like to address a couple things. First being, we're not very smart at doing things, so whatever I say probably won't make sense anyways. Secondly, yes, we did go a bit over the budget we wanted to. Mainly because we bought reliable parts. We could have saved money on like a used transmission, used converter. Instead, we got a brand new transmission, like a new converter, a nice rear end setup. We wanted to be able to make 600 or 700 wheel and punish the car all day without braking. Whereas a lot of cars you see thrown together, they're like, oh, we might make it to the track and back. So there's a lot of people with a lot more knowledge who could probably do this for a lot less money and still be reliable. However, this is the way we went about it. The goal here is to be able to drive it 500 kilometers to the racetrack, race it, and drive it home without any worries of being like, am I gonna break an axle if I launch too hard? Maybe. But overall, the thought process was like, if we're going to make 700 horsepower, what is going to break? And then we addressed that. So the limiting factor in this whole setup, I believe, is going to be the fuel system with that single fuel pump in it. It's going to be on pump and meth. And so whatever it makes on pump and meth, we should be able to handle the power. That was the thought process behind it. And now I gotta go stab my fingers trying to get this on here. So this piece just goes on, and then I like to thread it on over the exposed wires. And because it's Teflon lined, oh, stab my fingers. You kind of have to open up the wires a bit on purpose. So you just open them up. Open, open, open. Everything's gonna be cleaned out, so if you see a little bit of dirt on it, don't worry about it, it's gonna be all flushed out. Then you get this little steel piece, like a compression piece, that goes on the end of the line until it fully seats. Then this actually can screw back up over it. The problem I had last time was I wouldn't screw this up over enough, and then some of the steel wires would get caught in the threads, and then that's where my issue was coming from. But you can actually screw this pretty far up over that piece. And now you can see there's our piece in the middle. We have lots of threads there, and then this piece goes inside of it, and then when you tighten it down, it compresses that other piece around the Teflon, and that's what makes your seal on this. I have a feeling like AN lines are working their way out of the system, and Teflon lines are going to be the new AN lines. Or someone's going to comment and be like, they were already the new AN lines, you're just stupid. So we got the 8 feed set up. Next we're going to work on the return line, and we do have us like a nice little eBay fuel regulator here. We'll see how long that one lasts. Probably not that long. What fittings did it come with? Comes with 3-6 fittings. We only need 2, but I think we have a plug somewhere, so it's okay. I can't help but to notice how fresh my mustache is. It's coming in good, isn't it? I'm just gonna spend a minute here trying to run our wiring harness so we know exactly where we have room to put this fuel gauge or fuel regulator. So I'm just gonna plug a couple things in here to get us the lengths of the harness. So this is TPS. So essentially everything on this side of the harness can be tucked down here because map sensor is probably going to be on the firewall. The ignition's actually getting put down there. We have extension harnesses here for it. So that can be tucked behind the engine. Knock sensor, crank sensor, oil pressure are all in the back here, along with the second crank sensors down here. So all this stuff can get tucked behind here. It's just thrown there for now. This one, we might be able to peel back the harness and make it come out down here somewhere, because this is also the other ignition, which is going to go down on the other side. And then these go to the front for all the accessories up here. So the only other thing up here is the fuel injectors, and that has its own harness, which is getting pinned right now by Daddy Cal. And yeah, so the rest can get tucked behind the intake manifold, so it's going to look pretty clean for wiring. And now I think we're going to mount our regulator somewhere to the firewall back here. So this is where the regulator is mounted. I wanted to mount it here, that way our return line, we could just double it up with our feed line and pair those all the way back so they don't get all over the place. We do get one of these fittings, replace this one to go across there. So we'll see if that fits with the alternator now. And then build this line across, and then that one to there, and that one to the tank, and then that's it. And Tokyo's here. Like the nylon stuff on the outside.
Overkill. Chops out to cut. Nice and clean.
Nice and clean.
For the buys.
Still have to modify those brackets for this fuel rail because it's still loosey-goosey there.
Oh yeah, you did the other one. Oh, that line does not smell pleasant when you cut it.
No, it smells like rubber.
Oh,
Rubber.
smells like a sleepover at Ken's house. Jesus.
Burning rubber. Now the last fitting to go on, and because the regulator and the feed line were literally right next to each other, I can make these the same length. And they'll tuck up really nice beside each other. So I'm just gonna make them the same length. Yep. And these all had to come out because they all have to be washed now anyways. That's everything for the fuel set up there on the floor. I need to take that home and clean that. We'll clean it out with water and then air it out. It's just to get any little debris out of it. We don't want it in the injectors. So that's the fuel system done. The only thing we need now is our harness back for the fuel injectors. And we're just missing 2 clips, so that'll be real quick fix as soon as we get those clips. So what I'm doing now is I'm kind of just looking at it to see what we need to test fire. I still need to finish welding that one up a little bit. We need to clean the intercooler out really good as well. And wire up some of the little bit of the harness. That's it for firing, I believe. Oh, I gotta weld 2 bungs in the oil return. That's, so we're gonna have to lift up the engine to get the pan off to weld on the oil return bungs. And then the oil feed fittings, it was a weird situation with that because I had ordered lines for regular GT35 turbo. Turns out it wasn't M12 by 1.0 like a normal GT35. It's actually 7/16 24 that fits in there, which is a brake line fitting. So I got the adapters for those. They're on the way, but they won't be here till next week. So we won't be able to fire it until those show up. The oil feed line should be pretty easy to build off the thing in the back there, 1 to each turbo. The oil returns, we do have to take the pan off underneath. In order to do that, you have to lift the engine up and take the mounts off. So while I'm doing that, we might as well try and buy some poly mounts for this as well, to settle it back down to where it needs to be. And then that's it really. Once we have oil to the turbos, the downpipe welded, and our harness and a little bit of electrical just kind of wired up, we should be able to fire it and see what it sounds like. So I think we're out of time today. Those lines took me quite a while to build. It looks great, and hope to see you guys again. So peace easy and get that V. I did it again.